Hi everybody, welcome to The Conversation. It's a brand new week here on the show. Man, what an incredible week. If you've been paying attention to the headlines anywhere, you can't go anywhere without seeing headlines about the coronavirus. In fact, governments, and if you live in like the US, for example, then you have state representatives like almost on the hour giving updates. Yesterday, Prime Minister Dr. Minnis addressed the country and talked about the Bahamas' position, our state of readiness and preparedness. He also announced Dr. McMillan, her first name escapes me, but from the Ministry of Health, that she is the only voice and she will be in charge of speaking and giving out information as is necessary, as is warranted, and as it comes in on behalf of the Bahamas government to keep the country informed. And so a lot's going on. A lot of people are very nervous. If you know the sort of the hubs where this thing is really apparently out of control, Italy, for example, China, help me out, you all. I think South Korea, and Iran. I think those 4 countries, and then they are where a number of cases are being multiplied reportedly, and then the U.S. is now reporting growing numbers of cases, 2 deaths already. Just very unfortunate. And so we have a lot to talk about, just a lot to get to. And if you all remember, if you paid attention, I think it was yesterday the headlines came out where the Caribbean has its first case, an Italian who travels to the Dominican Republic. But certainly, of course, so a lot to be concerned about, a lot. And what do? Don't want to cause panic, but at the same time, like people say, boy, I won't go to the Bahamas because all y'all doing is sitting on the beach with umbrellas and y'all drinks, because everybody else is trying to do what they're doing. But the Bahamians say, man, this do shall pass. And it shall. But I'm just saying, like, what are we doing? And so welcome to the conversation today. We have a ton to get to, but of course, certainly we're going to jump in with this coronavirus issue. Gentlemen and lady, first of all, it's wonderful seeing each of you here today. Welcome to the show. Let's just kind of jump in. The Prime Minister addressed the nation yesterday in a live news conference, says that the Bahamas is on top of things, certainly fighting after meeting and I guess teleconferencing with leaders around the region, and in CARICOM addressed the nation yesterday and talked about the fact that what we're doing and the fact that we are intent on not allowing this virus to enter our ports. You guys, what do you make of his address?
Good afternoon once again, Peggy, Candy, Shenique, thank you so much for having me. I listened to the Prime Minister speak, and one of the things I don't recall hearing is the precaution at the airport, the ports of entry, and I think that is a great concern because they talked about having places for testing within different facilities and a clinic set aside for screening, but there was no mention, to my knowledge or my remembrance, of to the airport.
What's in place at the various airports?
Yes,
because this is an extremely porous country. Just even in Nassau alone, we have 2 major airports here, seaports, and so you're right.
Yeah, and even different family islands, what preventative measures are taking place or being put in place at our port of entrances? And so that is a concern of mine because, we're archipelago, marinas, boating, and so what protective measures are being put in place to prevent this, because it is highly contagious, obviously, and now there are cases reported in neighboring state. Yes, and so we need something on the ground at this time. Conversation, the declaration, they're all good, but now we need to see some things put in place.
Shenique, I tend to agree with Peggy with that. We have a large mass of land in our archipelago to cover, and we struggle with dealing with protecting our borders regarding immigration, but Peggy raised a very good point. Are persons being checked before they depart their countries or their ports of call before they come here, and then what protective measures are we going to have at the airport, seaport, or other boats that come to our various family islands? Okay, because person to come fishing, person to come by seaplane, in any regard. And so what protective measures or what measures will they have in place? that ensure that these persons, before they come into our country or before they depart either their boat or their airplane, are they clear or free or healthy of coronavirus or any other serious illnesses that may exist. So we listen to it, and we just hope that, I know that the government's responsibility is to keep persons, one, informed and also maintain a sense of calm. But right now, we just want to make sure that when we read and watch on the news around the world, and how the Bahamas is going to best protect ourselves and protect our citizenry from this very concerning epidemic, primarily, as Peggy alluded to as well, Dominican Republic. That is our neighbor to the immediate south.
Yes.
All right, so, and we know we have had issues from that particular rock. Not only Dominican, but their neighbors, Haiti, are coming to our country as well. So that's something that everyone is concerned of keeping our eyes on the pulse with this.
Do you all think that it is necessary for the Bahamas to have this sort of stop list just for maybe the next month, as Jamaica has done? Jamaica has released late last week its stop list, where there are certain countries that they ain't quite open to you just coming in.
We definitely can't be too selective in our stop list, but at the same time, if you make a widespread stop list, it impacts our economy in a great fashion. So we really have to recognize the lifeline of our economy is tourism. And so we have persons from all around the world, North America being our largest client base, but we still have persons from all over the world that comes to our shores. And the more widened the stop list becomes, the less opportunity for revenue generation is there, which creates a challenge. And so this shows you how vulnerable we really are in terms of this coronavirus scenario. And so we definitely have to do a lot of screening and to look at it from a perspective that we need to be prepared. And this also puts us on our heels to make sure that we need to be prepared in a lot of areas as relates to health and wellness when it comes to our country, in terms of sanitization and all these different things, and ensuring that our people are well protected. But this isn't just singular to corona itself. We are open to all sorts of disease and sicknesses because we invite people from all over the world to come to our shores, and their interaction with our people can open the doors for such things to happen. And so this is an eye-opener for us, and we definitely need to be watchful.
You know, one of the things that a lot of persons are not taking into account, and Mr. Hubert Edwards, a financial expert in the business section of The Guardian, he pointed out a serious thing like how you said about the impact of our finances, and you talk about tourism, but he spoke about the financial sector. If you are paying attention, you know that the world markets are having a negative effect.
International shipping, just everything.
Yes, and the Dow Jones and everything. And he said that we also now have to put in some mitigation or take into account the risk to our banking sector and also the cash flow, because if it affects tourism are number one, banking is our number two. And so there needs to be a discussion on what, in the event that the trend of the global market continue on its downward spiral, that there are some discussion on what do we do, because it will affect our dollar.
Yeah, the market is one thing, and the good thing about the market is you can trade with it going up and you can trade with it going down and still make money in any direction.
Yes,
and most of the people who made big money from trading in the markets made their money as the market went down. Includes Warren Buffett, Ray Dalio, et cetera, et cetera. So I think when this thing came out, they was expecting that, and if you're smart, you will take advantage of it. Wow, I'm supposed to be the pro, and she gotta teach me how to do the mic, you know. Well, anyway, he made a statement about how it could affect, tourism and affect our economy if we did a stop list. But what could affect it even more is if we have outbreaks and people can't come. Because for whatever reason, and planes start to ban people flying from the Bahamas or not allowing people to come from the Bahamas to come back in.
Yeah.
That is the real problem. I think Jamaica acted in wisdom in saying that, listen, the risk of stopping people from these selected countries it does not outweigh the risk of us getting a virus and us being on other countries' stop lists. I think what happened recently on this weekend I think it was, with Dwayne Sands and the Prime Minister, etc., administration, allowing a cruise ship to come into our ports that was rejected by other countries, I think it shows that we're not serious. I think that was a complete travesty and disaster. Why do I say that? It could have been, right? Wisdom should cause you to want to not take precautions with our fragile economy.
Very fragile.
And so what happened is they suspected that a person on board could have had this coronavirus. They said, far as they know so far, he had some kind of flu symptoms, but he could have had it. The response by Dwayne Sands was, we're going to have him tested on the ship. They're going to test him. If it was simple as testing, can't you just test the children who need to come from China and want to come here, who have no symptoms and want to come back home? Couldn't you just test them and let them go home? It isn't as simple as testing because there is a 14-day incubation period.
And I'll tell you this, Lincoln.
And that is why you don't just test them and let them in.
In Texas, for example, a lady was tested negative. She had to be called back in because shortly after the 14 days, she tested positive.
Yes.
And I agree with you because Glenroy mentioned tourism, and yes, tourism, the tourism industry is fragile. We need every tourist we can get. But imagine, and I love the example you brought in, imagine if the Bahamas goes on record as having one case.
Yes.
What then happens? We cannot be so steadfast and so eager to welcome a cruise ship. I think we got to put some stopgap measures in place now, and for now, it's only about a month you need to kind of sort of conduct this. I know a month in our tourism industry is a lot. I understand, but what I'm saying, sound like Trump, the U.S. economy runs on is very right, and the U.S. economy is tourism is not their first thing. Yes, they have millions of tourists, but they could operate on other levels. We need this tourist dollar, and we need to protect it and this industry. And you know what, Lincoln, I want you also continue. Pardon me, right? But let's just talk also about the fact that I want to know. Peggy mentioned about what's at the airports. Forget the seaport. Where at the airport, when you come in, that they ask you who just came from New York or Atlanta or Florida or wherever you come from, is somebody saying, come over this way, please, let's just maybe give you a swab. Is that happening at these airports?
Well, I can answer you because you know I travel a lot. Listen, I'll finish. I'll finish. I came from China. You know, and I think it was extremely irresponsible to let that boat in, and the excuse that the doctor gave takes away all trust that I had in him. I really love that gentleman.
Which doctor?
Dwayne Sands. I lost all trust and respect for him, and I think he should have been called to resign. Because think about what I'm saying. Don't get emotional. Think about what I'm saying. Yeah. They were the ones who put a policy in place to say that if you come in, you got to be quarantined for 14 days because it incubates, and you don't know until after the 14 days if you have it. But his excuse for letting the boat in was that we could just test the man, let them test the man on the boat, take their word for it. Our officials didn't test him, let them test him on the boat, and just let him in with the symptoms.
He's correct,
you know, he should be, and he deceived the Bahamian public to let that boat in. And not only is the man a threat, but think about this, the entire boat is a threat. Yes. That virus can live on a ship for 5 days. Yes. Cruises are 7 days. And the day after you start the cruise, they're in the Bahamas. So that ship didn't take 5 days to get here. That got here the next day. And so the virus could have been anywhere on anything that anyone could touch, and it starts to spread. And you don't see it until weeks and weeks later. That is a travesty, and he should be asked to resign. I'm sorry, Dwayne Sands, you know you was my boy, but that was out of order, and that was another deceitful action by the FNM.
Grab the mic.
I got one more shot after the airport.
Okay, 1 second. You can talk right after. Okay, go ahead.
And only when I said, I tend to agree with many things what Lincoln was saying, and also, you tend to take the advice of a doctor on the boat. Why didn't he contact some of his colleagues in the government in Jamaica and the other Caribbean countries on why they made such a decision?
Why they said no.
Exactly, and I think that would have basically helped them come to a better decision on, listen, whether we should allow the boat in instead of giving that feeble answer, in my opinion, that didn't wash with many Bahamian people. Why would you put us at risk if your other political colleagues,
of less than 500,000 people, like even
didn't allow the boat to come in?
Thank you. It's important, and I'm gonna let you pick up. It's important. Number one, imagine a key part of this and why people are falling ill, and it's only a small percentage, thank God, but the hospital must be equipped with certain equipment and lung equipment and all, and the kidney equipment in order to treat these people who may fall very ill. Most of it is just a flu symptom and it passes, thank God. But the point is we still must be equipped. And so you can't take those chances in any event. Lincoln, about the airport, I'm asking you, because you returned just last week. I'm asking you, were you pulled in? Were you pulled in to ask where you came from? Because I know you've been to a couple of states in the U.S. and that around. What was the situation?
All right, I just want to say this last thing.
Because if you come from China, please move.
Of this,
I need to know.
in terms of those boats, I don't trust any of those boats that have been accused of dumping into our waters. They don't care about what they dump here. So they definitely they're not going to care about dumping a virus here. They just want to get their bottom line done. And so I don't trust them. So if Dwayne's going to trust them and take their word after they have done what they've done to our country, then that means we're in a serious, serious state. And so when the last trip I was coming back, I literally noticed, and I talked about this actually in church yesterday, that everywhere you look in the airports, a Chinese is sitting here and everyone crowded on the next side. No one is sitting next to the Chinese. Nobody. They're doing it in an obvious way. One man sitting next to the Chinese, and that's me.
Oh.
All right? One man, because that means I can get 2 or 3 chairs next to each other to lay down if I wanted to. Or throw my foot up if I wanted to.
But you look like you were arrested in this country too now. Hold on.
No one sat next. Listen, I don't catch stuff. I don't catch stuff.
Speak it.
Yeah. So,
Glenn?
no one sat next to them. But one Chinese man who was sitting there, came on to the plane with mask on. All right? Mask on. Him and another woman was shouting together, mask on. And let me tell you something. Everyone in that plane watch him straight from the door, straight to his seat. As if this dude miss and sneeze in here, I can put him in there.
We gotta get on. He gotta come on this plane.
And all I say is, buddy, doing science and talk, you ain't getting in this country. You ain't getting in here.
Oh, so wait a minute. This is you coming to the Bahamas where you saw this man masked on.
Yes, he was coming to Nassau. And guess what? He went through immigration with no problem.
What you mean? Lincoln, don't tell a big fib on a Monday morning.
He went through immigration. I can tell you the date I traveled, so you could check it if you want to.
British passport?
British passport.
Hold on, the Chinese. Where did you board?
Right. See,
I don't want to tell him right boy.
because where you board, all of that clearance would have taken place.
No.
What clearance?
No.
If the man, that's okay. If the man come here with a mask on, at least pull him in and have a conversation.
No.
And that right there is an issue.
Listen, we had a gentleman, I understand, day before yesterday, who was a Bahamian. As people came off the plane, he was at the airport with drumming with a mask on his face. So people immediately became concerned, okay? And he's a Bahamian. And so when we're talking, we got to be a little bit more responsible. Now, I know there's a couple of things. When we talk about tourism being our main industry, right? The reality of it is, if we even give any inclination that there has been or there is a case of coronavirus in this country, we will face devastating impacts as a result of that.
Exactly, Glenn. That's why we need to take these precautions.
Yes, we can take those precautions, but look at the list of countries that are currently having cases of coronavirus. Are we going to now say that we're going to close our doors to tourism until this coronavirus situation passes us? Because we got to be realistic. That is not possible. If we want to do that, we can do that, certainly, yes. But we got to be responsible as well. When we talk about being responsible, right? The minister, I don't know if any of you heard the follow-up to that whole boat situation. All right, I listened to him, and it was a reasonable explanation.
It was.
One of the things is that it wasn't a situation where the boat was just automatically granted. The boat wasn't granted to get into Jamaica because the paperwork was not clear. There was one individual on the boat who had signs of the flu and has been declared having the flu.
Having the flu, yes.
Nothing else. What ended up happening is because they didn't clear the paperwork from the port that they came from, they rejected them coming into Jamaica. as a result of getting those details, that is exactly what the minister spoke to. And so from that perspective and my understanding, I am kind of comfortable with that answer. I don't think I'm the good minister himself, right? I don't know him. But I wouldn't think that any Bahamian, regardless of what side of the divide they're on, will put their countrymen in jeopardy, including themselves, by allowing somebody to
and
come
that is
into the
good.
country.
And I was talking about still the measures Jamaica put in place. 1, 2. Not just his word. I know people who traveled just this weekend,
Right.
who came from the U.S. There are cases in Florida.
Right.
There are cases in New York. There are
Yeah.
cases in Texas. There are cases, and I don't want this to become a widespread thing. I'm just saying, realistically, they were not. Immigration wasn't even into the airport to meet them. They did not. They just simply collected their luggage and walked on.
Listen.
And my thing about it is, Glenroy, I would want you to come and ask me a question. Ask me when I show up. Yeah, you may not be a Shenique.miller Bahamian. Shenique, where you coming from?
Listen,
Shenique, where were you in large crowds? Because here's what the U.S. is telling their people. If you are 60 and over, avoid large crowds. What I'm saying is, and Walmart is a large crowd. What I'm saying is, at least have people there to ask questions. Just ask questions.
But again, see, and this is something.
And that's not stemming tourism from coming in. The Chinese man walking with his mouth straight through.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean the Chinese man was infected. But understand what I'm saying.
How would you know?
Listen,
How would you know?
But understand the point. Listen to me very carefully. And let's not get emotional to the point where we start to cast doubt on people coming in to the point that we believe everybody have corona. But what I'm saying is, listen, we all have a responsibility.
Yes.
Every single one of us.
Yes.
We can't just rely on 2 or 3 individuals standing at the airport conducting this testing.
Their job.
It's their job, but let's be realistic. We have over 6 million visitors that come to our shore. You mean to tell me 2 or 3 persons could screen 6 million people? Hell no.
But I
understand what I'm saying.
But
Listen to me,
wait,
finish
one
the point.
second. I'm saying, and I'm gonna let you finish. I am saying though, you may not be able to catch, or you may not be able to catch the 7 or 80 people in this room right now, right? What I'm saying is, even if there's a corner where at least, just like how they do randomly, and they say, "You come with us."
What
I
screening
get-
process
I
you put in
I
place?
understand that.
I
understand that.
I was there during the epidemic.
But listen,
Hold on,
hold on.
Hold on, wait.
He was there when he was
I
doing
what epidemic he was in?
No, but listen, let me finish this point.
Because you up under me, we're good.
Yeah, but
I talking about SARS and bird flu.
Let me finish my point. The point I'm making is that we all have a responsibility to protect ourselves. And so when you talk about being a Bahamian, you working at the airport, you need to be vigilant to recognize that there's a potential that this person coming in may have some sickness that they may not have caught. So I'm going to be vigilant on anybody coming off that plane because I'm in my own interest. No, I'm saying to you, you see signs. Listen to what I'm saying. If you see somebody sneezing, you see somebody coughing, you raise the alarm. Hey, listen, check that person out.
There's nobody to raise it to.
I'm sure there are persons there at the airport.
Let me answer that. You don't want to guess,
let's not make this. This is a collective responsibility.
Let me.
Raise up your mic, Lincoln.
All right. Again, wow. Getting rusty. Listen. He talked about the person on the boat having flu symptoms. Everyone who is suspected of coronavirus first has flu symptoms. The symptoms are exactly the same. It incubates for 14 days, so until then, all you know is they have the flu. That's all you know. So, and he was not just accused of having flu symptoms, he was in quarantine on the boat. Yeah. Why? Because it's suspected that there's a possibility that he could be a threat. If he wasn't a threat, why the boat have him in quarantine? All right? Not only Jamaica didn't let them in, the Cayman Islands didn't let them in also. All right? So what I'm saying is, we don't need to take any risk. We don't need to be taking calculated risks as related to this.
Because the fragile tourism industry you speak about is what we all want to protect.
All right? And this goes beyond anything. So, when I came into the airport, like I said, I saw the Chinese man come in with his mask on. I saw that, all right, with my own eyes, all right? I didn't see him go through customs, but I was there for the immigration part of it, all right? Because I guess he went to get his bags, and I walked straight out. When I came into the airport, no one asked me where I went. You know what I did? I went to the thing where you scan the machine, where you scan your fingerprint and take a picture, etc. They gave me a piece of paper, and I walked up to the immigration officer. They signed the paper, and I walked out. They didn't ask me where I came from.
Even a Bahamian, Roy should be screened as to where are you coming from.
The fact that, hold on, you ain't got no mic. Hold on. The fact of the matter is, we have no direct flights from China. One, none. So anyone coming from somewhere else, all right? So you come from the UK, you come from Canada, you come from the US, but you could have just been connecting from China. There's no direct flight. There's no, if you ask someone who come from China, they can just say, no, I ain't come from China.
I bet you this, and pray tell if it does happen. If we are diagnosed with one person with the coronavirus, watch how serious it is to leave this country to go to the United States and what they put us through.
That's true.
Yeah. Just like how we go through and they ask us questions and everything else in detail. We need to take the same approach to anyone who comes
to make everyone feel safe, including the tourists. But let me just say this last thing.
We shut our borders is my question.
No,
protect them.
To protect
some controls, Glenn, right? Part of risk managers.
Yes, we are.
No, you're not.
Hold on, let me tell you. When I first started going to China,
taking temperatures, it is being done in other parts.
I can tell you. When I first started going to China was when they had this epidemic called SARS and bird flu. All right, everyone was telling me, don't go, you get SARS, you get bird flu, you can die, whatever. All right, they're showing the people on the news with walking around in masks and all that, more so than actually now. And when you got to that airport in China, there was a camera that it looked like some kind of infrared, but it was temperature gauge that checked your temperature. And if you had high temperature, they pull you on the side and they question you. Everyone walks through that. They have millions of people on a daily basis. They ain't got about 6 million in a year. They got them a day moving around in China through them airports between cities and stuff, and then foreigners coming in. They have millions. And so all you do, you walk through that. They have persons there with their mask on, government officials with their gloves on, and they protected. All right? And they're watching that, and I watch them pull people over, check them. If you got a sniffle or whatever, they can see you have a raised temperature. They can see what's going on with you. And then they will take you in quarantine and put you through some more checks. They don't care about that tourism side of it, and they check you. And that is happening again around the world right now. If we are serious and we know how fragile our economy is, those cameras don't cost much, and every government have them basically. All right? So just ask them for this camera, monitor it. The tourists will feel safer, we will feel safer, we'll protect our borders. There's no one in the airport right now checking or screening for anyone who might have it.
What you mean? I think that's a loaded statement, and I need you to back on that statement. What do you mean? And what do you know that there's no one? Because our government said every system is in place to be able to.
What system?
I bet you they didn't tell you what system.
What system?
To screen people, to be able to identify when you're all coming through the store from the plane. Some people are there, are health officials to ensure, and number one, where you coming from? What's going on?
No health. I came off that plane. I walked through the whole airport. I saw no health officials. I went through nothing. No one questioned me about how I feel, if I have a runny nose, if I have any symptoms. No one questioned me.
Or even where you coming from.
No one asked me where I was coming from.
You know what's interesting though, when you listen to that, the Prime Minister, the person who gave the response of the vote coming in didn't even have a comment.
What do you mean the person who gave
Dr.
the vote?
Dwayne Sands.
Now I saw a little bit of the news conference. You were saying Dr. Sands didn't speak at the news conference yesterday? Was he was there. I saw him.
Yeah. But the thing about it is, he gave a comment in regards to the vote coming in last week in terms of some feeble excuse. But that was not even acknowledged or spoke about in detail. Another person was the spokesman for this particular matter.
Yeah, I know Dr. Macmillan, and she has been declared the
So why wasn't she the spokesman last week on this entire thing then? Why was the Minister of Health remain silent with it? That was something I found very odd and very curious, that the person who's responsible for health in this country, particularly at the helm.
Hold on, you make a good point. The person responsible for health had no comment whatsoever at all?
No, he did not, but, and Dr. Sands' defense, he has been on social media, Facebook in particular.
Because he's always very vocal.
And very responsive, and he was answering many of the concerns people were placing on Facebook, and also he was speaking to some misinformation. And so he's been very vigilant. And yes, I personally was surprised that he did not make any contribution, because from the beginning he has been the voice, and I have a
he wasn't even acknowledged.
Man,
I don't know.
I think Obi being mischievous.
Health officials. I don't have
Let Obi give him his mind. Obi, you're being mischievous. What are you talking
The
about?
Prime Minister said health officials. He didn't even acknowledge that his Minister of Health was there with him.
Yeah, you give it back to me after you say that. But like I said, I have commended Dr. Sands for his involvement, for his availability, because my daughter's in China, and one of the things when they were first quarantined in China was every hour their temperature was taken.
In China.
In China.
So what Lincoln is saying is true.
Yeah, and
because
more,
there's
that's
one
why
second, there's someone in the U.S. right now. There's a K where you are, K Pratt face as Lincoln. They have those same machines in the United States. So apparently,
Yes, they do.
when you walking through, what they gonna do is like come Miss Spacer, walk through.
No, they don't bother you.
No.
It has a camera that can see everyone walking through that aisle. The whole
And take your
crowd.
body temperature.
And it would pinpoint
Oh.
any individual
Elevated.
who has elevated temperature.
Elevated temperature.
Yeah, and then I've also seen people with doing like this, you know, the temperature, the gauge.
yeah.
Yes, and they're doing that. It's all about putting in control. It's not an attack on the government. There's no need to defend the government. It's all about part of putting in control measure. And the Prime Minister spoke of having system in the hospital and in a clinic, but not at the port of entries. And so now that we're discussing it, put the control in. It is important to mitigate the risk.
Okay, now that you said it, right? Again, I start what I said. I saw my sister. She posted something. Whistleblowers have talked about how you had in
Your sister in the U.S.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
and she was talking about whistleblowers, how they were not screened properly. Some of those folks who came over from China into the United States. How you think the COVID-19 got into the United States? Because when they came over, they were not properly screened.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're talking about our country screening millions of people when America has the resources to screen, and they couldn't screen all those
Glenroy,
patients.
That's not what to do.
One second, Glenroy. One wrong, I'm gonna let you complete your whole thought. One wrong, don't, okay, Obi, thank you very much. Or one wrong, don't excuse for the next
Yes.
thing. I'm saying, while the U.S. has billion, in fact, I just saw, I think it was the Senate is trying to go after 8.5 billion, and the government itself, in terms of the House, going after 2.5 billion to address it, and Dr. Sands says we're trying to get $1 billion. So obviously it doesn't even compare. What I am saying here at this table is when you go right now and travel today or tomorrow, when you return later this week, is somebody at the airport, we may not have the whole screening apparatus and all this, but is someone at the airport going to try to pull you in and say, sir, pardon me, hi, where are you coming from?
And see,
that's what I'm saying.
yeah, but understand.
We still have to take these precautions. This is a vulnerable economy.
I get that, and I agree. But what I'm saying is, and this is not a defense of the government, because this is even, to me, I don't even think this is a government issue. This is our issue. This is the Bahamian issue.
But
so
you can't go to the
understand.
airport and say, sir, come here with this man, so I
No,
can check
listen,
you.
you have authority.
Exactly.
Those persons are at the airport, whatever authority they've been given. And I've seen something disseminated as relates from the Ministry of Tourism and Health. They have some screening processes, and they have some information that they share, okay, advising persons on what to do and what to look out for. What I'm saying is this, and without all emotionalism, we have to recognize we are a tourist destination. Our lifeline relies on
Jamaica
tourism.
isn't?
No, it isn't, to the point that Jamaica is not on the level of us as relates to tourism. Tourism is our lifeline. We are the leaders in the tourism market in this region.
And so much more, we should protect it.
Yes, we should protect it.
That's what I want
I'm
to
not
know.
saying
I
that
want
we
Glenroy
should
to
protect
understand
it.
that.
But what I'm saying is what you're asking for, you're not screening. Yes, but what I'm telling you is that every single Bahamian has a responsibility. You can tell
We don't work to the airport, Glenroy. We don't look
Let me
to the
finish the
ports of
point.
entry.
Let me finish the
You
point.
cannot put this
Let me
on.
finish the point. Let me finish the point. Let me finish the point. If you designate 3 persons to do screening, and those 3 persons are Bahamians and don't do screening effectively, you can't blame anybody for that other than the 3 persons who are supposed to be doing the screening. And what I'm saying is this: as a Bahamian, I will screen up to wazoo, because guess what? I recognize that this is something that's detrimental to all of us collectively.
But what the point is here, Glenroy, is it is no charge on any particular individual. It is just whether, and Lincoln, I refuse to believe you're being mischievous or anybody else who I spoke to today. What I'm saying is, I don't care if it's one person. You know, one person can't screen everybody. What I am understanding is, people were allowed to walk through, and nobody is questioning unless we have that machine that says, oh no, so-and-so temperature is 98.6. this is good, yeah, whatever. Unless we have that of me, but it's fine. But what I'm saying is, I understand there's no question, it should be around the clock. As long as an airport is open, those persons should be on duty until it closes.
But what I said in my opening is this is showing us how vulnerable we are as a population. This is showing us how, like I said, we are open and susceptible to all sorts of diseases that come into our country, which gives us an opportunity from this point forward to have training opportunities for individuals. Should we have these types of scenarios, what we should do next? Well, right at this present stage of our development, we lack resources in terms of the ability to screen properly. This is a fact. We lack the ability to do certain things properly. And so what I'm saying is these are opportunities for us to get better as a result of these experiences. But right now, what I'm saying to you is we have to also be responsible. If you're talking about shutting down, we can shut down. No, listen to what I'm saying. I don't care how many persons you have there, because we have such an open border scenario. We have persons coming in, perhaps illegally. We have persons coming in by boat. We have persons coming in by plane. These are different opportunities for this same coronavirus to step into our shores. We don't have persons at the border in terms of watching every boat, every cruise ship, every yacht that comes into our borders. We don't know what's happening. And what I'm saying is, we all have a responsibility. And I'm saying this from this perspective. We all have a responsibility. If we come into contact with individuals working at the airport, we need to say something.
Every time it's time to call on the government to do something or act in a situation, you always talk about what we lack the ability to do. You know, we talk about the hurricane, we don't have the machines to collect the rubble.
Because it's the truth.
You know, and it's not the truth. It was not the truth then, it is not the truth now. It does not take anything to get those machines that they have that screen people on camera and test their temperature reading. It doesn't take anything to do that. You could order that and receive that in a day. Let me tell you something. You seem to try to make everything seem to be insurmountable when it comes to this government. It shows me that you have no confidence in this government. All right? Listen, you're talking about millions of people a day going to the airports. No, we have 1.3 to 1.5 million tourists that come here and stop over. All right? Not 6 million. All right? Most of them come on the ship. And most of them don't come off the ship. Probably up to 80% of them don't. I've been on the ship that came to Nassau and saw that the tourists don't come off. All right? And so a lot of them that we count in this 6 million or whatever don't even never hit our shores. All right? They don't come off that boat. All right? So 1.3 million, and you divide that by 12. All right? You're trying to tell me that you believe our airport has more people on a daily basis than Miami Airport, more than Atlanta Airport, more than New York and JFK? That is ridiculous. They have millions and millions of people to deal with. With that machine, you don't have to have an army of people. 2 people monitoring that machine, or 1 person monitoring the machine, and 1 person to call a person from the crowd. That's all you need. That is what I saw in China. They didn't have an army of people doing that. When they see that you light up, that the computer identifies you, they beckon to you, and that's it. And then they escort you to somewhere else. We have a bunch of doctors, even new doctors, that are looking for something to do. All right? We could assign some of them to the airport and have this thing done properly, man. Nothing is impossible. We just need to be more creative and stop making excuses in this country.
Rashida, let me get to some comments. Let me get to some comments, please. Can I get to the comments? Thanks. Because I'm presenting a fair conversation here.
Right.
And I'll tell you, I the same way I don't like them charging at you when they say certain things. Don't charge at people's emotion. This is an emotive issue. But let me just go. Rashida Franklin says in the United States, every airport does not have those machines, which Dr. Michelle Singh pointed out is called a thermal machine.
Yeah.
And so it checks body temperature. So she says, and many places that still were affected, just so that people know. So it can't detect every case, but it does put into place, I believe, still an additional measure to be able to detect something. But anyway, let me get to more comments. Natasha Pratt Harris says, all the screeners would need is proper training and equipment to protect themselves. We are not fully prepared worldwide. Vernita says, lies, and more lies. So sad. I'm not sure what she's talking about. Kizzy says, I agree with Lincoln. And let's just go to other comments. Other comments coming in. Linda Denise Evans says, what about the luxury yachts? Who might? Linda, that's what I'm talking about. The luxury yachts, the luxury aircraft, the various ports that we have, not just here in New Providence, but around the country. And that is the thing. But we even just talking about here, right? Everything is in place. We ain't talking about machines, because Dr. Sands asked for $1 million. The U.S. asking for billions. Of course, their population is considerably larger. But what I'm saying is, so we can see financially, we wouldn't have everything in place that they would. We're saying though, even with the human resource, where's the human resource at these airports too? If only randomly select, sir, can you come with me? Where were you just coming from? Even if this John is coming, if that is taking place, it shows some level of some kind of screening going on. More comments I'm getting to. Rashida Franklin says the Bahamas is very vulnerable. Yes, and that is why we are emotive. That is why we're saying, and we agree with you, Glenroy, we gotta be emotive because we got this tourism industry to protect. Just today, the sale was official for the Grand Ukiah Resort in Grand Bahama. What does that mean? Tourists. So we got to protect the industry that has been the bread and butter of this country for since really the independence. And so let's go on. Kizzy says, you're talking about emotion. Yes, get emotional about this, because if you drop down dead from this virus, your family will feel it. You all better stay woke. Thank you, please continue to share the video, guys. Share the video, share. And continue to make comments. And I'll have even others read, because sometimes I miss the comments. Kevin Moss says, Glenroy, don't care how much millions to screen, you still have to put the measures in place and be cautious. Jermaine Curtis, 1 second. Jermaine says, this virus is looking to become a mass pandemic. The people are not being properly screened through the airports. We need to eat to strengthen our immune systems. Oh, Jermaine, that's a whole different topic, and you're right. Please, everybody, please, number one, get some canned goods. And I know people talk about canned goods, but load up on some beans, and good healthy options. Have it in your house, sitting there, eat well, load up on the vitamin C. And I'll tell you this, now in the US this is more applicable, but still in the Bahamas, if you don't have to be out all that much for now, and this is going to obviously reduce spending, but still, stay indoors a lot. It's important just to kind of take these protective measures. Lincoln?
I just want to add this, because see, our thinking is sometimes wrong, and that's why we see things wrong. And listen, every single passenger that travels through an airport is screened. It's just what they screen for. You don't go to the airport and you and your luggage is not screened.
Every time.
Every piece of luggage is screened through an X-ray machine. Yeah. All right, you have to live in the times you live in. There was a time you could travel in the airport and they don't screen you at all. That changed. They brought in metal detectors. All right, and they used to search your bag manually. Then it changed. Now you got to go to the machine where it ain't metal detector no more. They can see an X-ray thing of you. All right, so because times have changed. Not one soul, I don't care how much millions of people travel, not one soul travels and is not screened. So him talking about this stupidness, but how much people traveling, I did the calculation. 1.3 million stopover visitors, and some of them come on private yachts and they stop over because they stay over. All of them go to the airport. But 1.3 million stopover visitors divided by 365 is 3,561 passengers per day if all of them go to the airport. I didn't look to see more people than that in a day. So that is not a mammoth task to screen those people. The fact of the matter is, we screen people already. Now, we don't screen all of them coming in, but they do. You have 2 checkpoints when you come into that airport. You go to immigration, you're checked there and questioned there. Then you go to customs and you are checked and questioned there again. It doesn't take much to put at any one of those checkpoints a procedure to show you on camera to see whether you look like you have any symptoms.
But this is about protecting the tourism product. Mm-hmm. I'm sure if it is known that we're taking necessary precautions and have controls in place to check our borders, our guests would be even more comfortable. I know there's a story online where somebody in the States were tested positive and they're recalling the person from the flight.
Yeah,
to be tested, because they're now saying everybody on the flight was exposed. And so this is how the thing now is being caught and carried abroad, because if you're on a flight and you're infected, every person, those flights, 350 persons, and that is how it is spreading. And so if one person comes through and we have not made an effort, can you imagine what this country would be like? Can you imagine the load now that is on PMH? That's all we have.
And see, that is the scary
And
thing.
so it's about
We talk
protecting
about
control.
Yeah, because let's say the tourists come in, they need medical assistance. There are only so many lung machines, and I don't know, I'm not a medical technician to know the right name of these machines. There are only so many lung machines. There are only so many kidney machines. There's only so much load, PMH, and you better have medical insurance or have long dollars, doctor's hospital can facilitate. And so this is important for all of us, tourism or health, public health, to take extremely serious, because guess what? When y'all know people on the dialysis machine, when that start acting up and doing, and when they can't accommodate more people on a particular day or week, they can't accommodate more people. And so Jermaine was right when he say, man, we gotta, guess where we take it in hand, Glenroy, what we could do on our level. Eat healthy, boost your immune system, and
stay home if you're
home.
sneezing.
If you're sneezing, if you're sniffling, it could just be the flu. Stay home and get over that, because it is not as scary, and we are not trying to incite fear. Because the thing is, it is like for what I'm hearing, the flu symptoms that will go away if you take care of yourself. Now, for that, 10 to 15% who may get worse, and then for even smaller percent who may be at risk, those are the ones we have to take seriously. And even that load, our healthcare, our public healthcare system cannot absorb.
But again, I'm not trying to be emotional about this. I never said not to scream. What I am trying to suggest, and what I was stating, is that we got to be careful in how we're communicating. That's what I said. I also
you said too hard for the government.
But I also said,
you know how it is.
listen to what I said. Yes, we have an over reliance on government for every single thing that happens.
In this instance, yes.
No, but understand the point again. This impacts every single behavior. Listen to what I'm saying. The government is not standing. When you say the government, be the government. The people are the government.
No, we're not. We hired 39 individuals.
So you want 39 individuals?
We have a medical, we have a health department, we have a minister of health, we have a health professional.
That employs behaviors. And what I'm saying
I'm not talking about who employ. I'm saying we have these people.
What I am saying is Bahamians are employed.
Yes.
Right? And Bahamians have to protect the borders.
Yes.
And what I'm saying is, we are saying the government, right? When I say the government, the government put policies and procedures in place to ensure that there is a protection for the people. The persons working for the government are the gatekeepers. And that's the fellow who is in the medical field, who is probably working with immigration, who works with this place and that place. They are the protectors of the borders.
Why the Prime Minister speak?
Listen, for example, let me give you an example.
One second then, right, because Peggy will not interrupt you again. But that is what we are saying from the beginning. We didn't expect the Prime Minister to be there and say, come, even though he's a doctor, to say, come, open your mouth, let me see what's going on. No, we expect his Ministry of Health, his Department of Public Health, and all those various surveillance teams, we expect whoever they designated to be at whichever port of entry and doing their job. We are saying those people are not in place according to people who just travel along this morning.
And what I said was that because we're not prepared, we don't have the trained staff, and this is what I'm saying. We are not prepared for something like this. Our borders are very porous.
But the doctor stands are saying that we are.
Listen, our borders are very porous. They are ready for a case that may potentially come about. They have all, listen, this is a 39-page document. This is saying the novel coronavirus preparedness response plan, all right? This is a document. This is very comprehensive, all right? Very, very comprehensive.
You read it?
I haven't read it. I haven't printed it on my desk to read it when I have an opportunity,
yeah,
all right?
I even said
So,
it's comprehensive.
it is very comprehensive because, you can look at it yourself. It's very comprehensive. And to suggest, to suggest, right?
It's right on the Bahamas government website.
No, this is something that came in from the Bahamas Hotel Training Association. But what I'm saying is to suggest that Bahamians are not taking this serious. The government is not taking this serious.
Who said
by
that?
not putting plans in place. What I'm saying to you is we all have a responsibility. I'm not, and this is
said that.
The misconception is I'm not defending the government. I'm not even speaking for the government. No. What I am saying though is, as a Bahamian, if you work at the airport, you have a responsibility to be a student.
But you're saying the medical experts are not experienced or prepared. How do you expect a porter?
I say as a country.
How do you expect security to be prepared?
That's why
you're being very unfair.
Because that's that's why I said. See, if you listen to what I said,
I'm
it's not
listening
emotional.
to you.
What I said is that's why this is an
I am
opportunity.
emotional.
If you listen to what I said earlier, I said this is an opportunity because our borders are porous and we service people from all around the world that comes in with different types of disease. I said now this is an opportunity for us now to have a training exercise on such things like this that will help us to be better prepared to handle stuff like this. This is our testing point.
This is real life. This is a test.
This
is real life.
It is a test.
This is due.
This is happening. This is real time.
What do you want us to do apart from the screening?
Tanya Nichols here starts
You have a problem with
airlines and
screening?
cruise ships should make it mandatory to be screened prior to boarding. This would alleviate the threat. I absolutely agree with
That's
that.
a good idea.
And then when you come here, not because they figure they screen you, I like that. No, I ain't gonna trust your word for it. When you come here still, I don't care if it's random. Can you come this way with me as is done many times for any other screening that happens in the airport? Lincoln?
Yeah, I'm looking at this thing that he called the comprehensive plan. And this have a bunch of bullet points. All right? And this is not comprehensive at all. And if you look at this, they say stuff like, okay, community engagement, establish methods for understanding the concerns, attitudes, and beliefs of key audiences. Identify the target audiences and gather information about their knowledge. Nothing with sense in here. Nothing.
You have a 20.
Nothing.
You have a 30-something page document and you say nothing in there.
Bullet points.
30-something
pages of garbage.
You read one
Yeah,
line.
Lincoln,
30-something pages.
Lincoln, you have to read the whole document.
But
All
both of
right?
you
No,
think it's a document.
One at a time.
This section says specimens. This is what they can do with specimens. All right? This in detail. They say, all specimens and request forms should be marked with a biohazard label. The specimen should be double bagged in the isolation room by a staff member wearing recommended PPE. All right? This stuff that every medical officer already knows. Specimens should be hand-delivered to the laboratory by someone who understands the nature of specimens, and lab must be, listen man, this copy and paste foolishness. That's what they do in the hospital. The hospital documentation of the same thing. We need to get serious, man.
But he's saying differently from what Dr. Sands and the Prime Minister said, saying that they have enough protective gear for the health professional, saying that they're prepared. Doctors are trained, nurses are trained. I mean, what extra training you need to take somebody's body temperature at the airport? You cannot put the responsibility on airport staff and not want to put it on health professional or the health department.
And Glen here is where the average, like you say, it's a Bahamian and should we almost step in to a point where we take care of ourselves and own our own health. However, you cannot expect what is the airport called now in the U.S.? But anyway, those security screeners. TSA. Thank you, Lincoln. You cannot expect TSA here or there or anywhere else to be able to be equipped enough, whether it's by knowledge, by experience, or anything, to come and try, but they testing you. They don't know the one they know what they're looking for. That is why you have your health teams. That is why you have trained professionals to be stationed at various airports from 4, 5 in the morning until after midnight, whichever teams, and I've got different teams rotating, but this is that important to have that done. Not to have people just strolling in, picking up their luggage and moving through, and you don't know what they got.
That sounds good in theory, and I agree with it. But the reality of it is, we don't even have the manpower to do it properly. If we're going to do it, we got to do it properly. No, if we're going to do it, we got to do it properly, not halfway. I believe that we need to have a task force, a grouping of individuals for situations like this, and maybe the government can take a group of individuals today, if they don't have them already, because we're all operating in our communication from an assumption perspective, that they may have a team of individuals who have already been trained to what to look for. But again, I don't care, you could have 10 people at the airport. You may have some opportunity for slippage. And what I'm saying is that everybody collectively participate in screening and helping. That will help our borders, because we all have a stake in this economy.
I agree with you.
If
you are TSA, and you see somebody demonstrating some of the symptoms, you alert someone. But what I'm saying, it isn't your job as TSA to go and find that you assessing and you are doing this. No, that is not your job.
No, once you determine from your just basic observation of somebody with a cold who looks like they have a fever, because you could see somebody shivering, somebody has a cough, somebody sneezing, demonstrating symptoms that you know is as the flu. You could elect the relevant authorities. That's all I'm saying. We all have a collective part in this. And here's the reality. Listen, we will not stop this from coming to our country.
No, of course
we
not.
We cannot stop
but
it.
We certainly can stand, we can stand the volume.
Yeah, but we are a tourist destination. And like I said, with all the countries listed right now on that list, our first intention was to stop persons from China coming in. That's what we did first of all. Now the thing going to Italy. Now the thing going to certain parts of America where our largest tourist bases. One person in New York. Our largest tourist bases from North America, which is in the New York region, New Jersey region, right? Now we have people from California. Now we have people from Florida, all right? What I'm saying is that you're talking about this widespread impact of the coronavirus. There is no way possible that we will stop it from coming. But what needs to happen is we need to be prepared that when it does come. That's the reality.
But what I'm speaking to is risk mitigation, putting controls in place.
I agree with
that. That is what I'm speaking to. And so it is not a difficult thing to ask. And I'm not assuming. I listened to the Prime Minister, and I've been following and listening to Dr. Sands, who has been very involved up until yesterday's press conference. And just to have things put in place. This is an ongoing situation. And so the more you know, the more you can mitigate the risk. Like, for instance, they're monitoring the trend, and they're saying they've had no cases of children under a certain age. And so as the disease increase and spread, they're getting more data, they're getting more information. And so if we can have, whether it's 2, 3, or 4 persons monitoring, say, okay, as a traveler, I see somebody shivering. Who do I go to? Start screaming. Who do I go to?
Especially if
they're not there. Who do I go to? And so in saying these things, you also must be in agreement that there should be someone there to point them out to.
But again, and
it is about protection. And you talk about the tourism product being so important, then you should see the need to protect this product.
But again, do any of us here know definitively? Yes, Lincoln said that he came through. But do we know definitively that they don't have screeners at the airport?
Okay,
forget
Lincoln.
Forget Lincoln.
Did the Prime Minister
say... One second. One second.
Right.
I'm Peggy. Forget Lincoln. Lincoln may be just mischievous. I know of other people who said to me this entire weekend they've traveled and they came in and they were not stopped approach or nobody else on their international flights.
Okay, and where did they come from?
Man, flipping in Florida.
No, understand what I'm saying. Because in the
Jesus
last week,
Christ.
in the last
They
week,
don't know where you come from.
in the last week, they know where you come from.
It doesn't matter. No, they don't.
In the last week, right?
Here's 1 second. Here's where they don't know where you come from. Remember last week when the I think 3 Bahamians were quarantined because Canadian officials contacted Bahamian officials and said, guess what? We have somebody tested positive with this virus. That these 300 plus people on this flight were exposed. Exactly. Some were Bahamian. They came back to Bahamas, get them and check them out and quarantine them. So they don't know where they're coming from and they ain't asking.
Yeah, but understand, listen to me. Only in the last 2 weeks, this thing started to spread, in terms of hitting Florida, hitting New York, hitting California. Only in the last 2 weeks.
1 second, but our Minister of Health, Glenroy, was talking about this for more than 2 weeks.
Yes.
And said that these screening systems are in place already at
no,
the very
this has
end.
been longer than 2 weeks, Glenroy, because the Dr. Sands met with the parents, and some of the parents brought their children in, and they were put in quarantine.
That's not what I meant.
So I'm saying...
In the last 2 weeks, he meant it come to Florida and these
And
other
other
places
places.
that affect us
Okay.
greatly. All right?
Close to us.
Yeah. It has not been just only last week. What you need to consider is that the majority of people who get this disease are not going to go to the hospital. You have flu-like symptoms, and some of them is going to come and it's going to go away. Very few people who get these symptoms are going to go to the hospital. Very few of us go to the hospital when we get the cold or the flu. Very few of us. All right, and some of us may go to a clinic or something like that, or they may go to urgent care in the States because they have them. and then they just give them medicine for the flu. They ain't get testing for coronavirus. They're not testing everyone for coronavirus. So the coronavirus might already be spread farther than you can even imagine, and they don't even know.
But that is what one of the commentators was saying on American station, that if you have one person infected in New York, you have to time that by thousands because of the exposure, because of the volume of persons they would have come in contact with in the supermarket, walking on the street.
Right, right.
And so that is why the alert has been risen in the United States, because for each individual testing positive, they want to times that by so many thousands because of the
And so in the Bahamas then, the 4 who came in were possibly interacting with hundreds. You know, and so the thing is, this is just how careful we have to be, Glenroy.
But again, listen,
yes, go ahead.
you could interact with somebody who have the coronavirus today, and that symptom wouldn't show up until 14 days later.
Exactly.
So even being screened, coming in with no symptoms won't help the situation. Because they are saying now, 14 days after you've been infected, the signs start to show up.
Glenroy,
So
Glenroy,
that is a serious situation.
Glenroy, here's a case, right? And I like the fact that you all Bahamians listen. First of all, please share the video. That's number one. Please share the video. Let's get it out there. I thank you all so much, and continue commenting. I can't get to every comment, but I'm trying to get to as many as I can. Calais Burrows, who just, and I know she's one of the people, but she didn't share this with me. Others shared it with me. She said, I just came back from Tampa last week, and this is late last week, to find out that there are confirmed cases there. No one is checking, meaning she walked in, went and collected her baggage, and she walked through. I am saying, while we may be far-reaching and we talk about that thermal screening, I think it's Dr. Michelle Singh who talked about the official scientific name. We may not have that. I'm trying to say there's still, even today, nobody at the airport that's saying, pardon me, sir, can you accompany me here? Where are you just coming from, such and such? And even if, only at that level, those things should be in place.
I have just recently been to Florida, Colorado, New York, New Jersey, Atlanta, and I have not been asked anything. I've not been questioned. I've come back. I've not seen anybody questioning you or doing anything as relates to health in that airport. Not a single soul.
Because again, my perception is that this disease or this coronavirus situation will catch us off guard. Because again, by the concept that 14 days after you would have been infected, you start to show symptoms. So when you are coming in looking very healthy, nobody may ask you a question. Anybody coming in looking very healthy may not be asked Christ-like. Now, that is the challenge, and that is the scary challenge.
It is the scary challenge, but I feel it is scary, but it doesn't be scary. Because my thing, again, is what this will be saying, at least this is what our position is, my own. Yeah, you ain't showing no symptoms, but I don't care. When you come through that airport, I don't care if you don't come and doing cartwheels. Pardon me, sir, can you please look here for a second? Where are you coming from? And even if you just monitor it to keep in touch, how are you feeling today? Or whatever the situation is.
But I'm never arguing again.
Listen, what he is saying is like saying you shouldn't waste time putting up traffic lights because people will run the traffic lights anyway. And it's really, you gotta have the police there to monitor it in order for it to be effective. And the police won't be there. All right? That makes no sense to say that because some people are not going to show symptoms, mean that you mustn't check them. No, you still must do whatever you can do. And whatever you can deal with, okay, yes, you can't say we mustn't check the drugs at the border because people swallowing it, so searching their bags and putting them through the X-ray machine doesn't help. You still do it, all right? And you deal with other ways to catch people. They still catch people who swallow the drugs, all right? By monitoring them, questioning them, seeing if their eyes diluted or whatever, seeing if they're nervous. There's other ways to deal with that, all right? That's why you bring them, you question them, you see where they've been. Now the seeing where you've been doesn't really matter because they blocked people from China, but now it's 50 countries. Mm-hmm. And so now, yes, and I'm agreeing with you on that part of it. There's 50 countries, and even more so, we need to be careful because
I agree.
Listen, America's #1 industry, not that #1 industry, I'm sorry. America is the biggest market for tourism in the world. Tourists don't go to any other country as they go to America. We are a joke with our 6 million, all right? Disney alone gets 90 million. All right, Disney alone. All right, and so I just say that to you to say that this is a mammoth task for them, but they are still doing something. It's not a mammoth task for us to monitor 3,000 plus people coming into the country on a daily basis. All right, there are stores, there are businesses in this country that see more than that on a daily basis. All right, you can monitor them. And so let's stop being lazy and let's get some solutions. Let's stop making excuses for this government. Every time there's something to do, you want to say why it's too hard for the government to do something about it. We have to do what we have to do to save our people and our economy. We did not have a hurricane, category 5, we cannot take an epidemic.
No.
It's a pandemic. But what I'm saying is, understand again, the point I'm making, our borders are porous. The challenge is, we don't have people on you know how many persons come on those yachts on a weekly basis?
You're selling a pitch
All
for
right?
tourists not to come.
You know how many persons that come in those yachts? These are realities that we have to face. And what I'm saying,
So that means to do nothing?
I am not suggesting that we do anything.
We are not going to get every case, because you're right. People come in, people in this country, we don't even know the dickens they in this country. They come in, they
Exactly
fish, and they go out on their luxury yachts, on their private planes, all of them.
And that's why I'm saying, because of that reality, every Bahamian has the responsibility to be watchful.
Question. Do you all feel enough is being done in terms of it? I see Florida will have 80 press conferences from the weekend, including this morning.
They've declared an emergency.
They've what?
They've declared a state of emergency.
I'm going to read that right now. I am wondering, do you all think enough communication is being done? Because, for example, people are fearful because, number one, I don't think we're being informed enough, and so it's still a very mystifying thing. This lady, Sharon Scott, says, God knows, I'm paranoid. Someone cough or sneeze around me and I'm ready to run. Here is Sandy Fanacos, who is in Florida. You're inside the U.S. borders, but did you get questioned coming into the United States?
Yes, I was asked by ICE, by Customs and Border Patrol, if I had been to China recently. I was asked by that person if I had been to China recently. And I was in the Bahamas, leaving to go to America. Obviously, I'm not on transit or anything. They asked if I've been to China within the last 14 days.
Sandy says, my job had just all business trips outside the United States canceled. Anyone coming to our office has to answer a check questionnaire. Any employee deciding to travel out of the country for personal reasons is quarantined from the office for the office. This is what our office put in place. Now, I'll say this. I heard the Prime Minister say, and he just gave sort of like a mild warning. I didn't hear it very strong. He is cautioning Bahamians to travel to the very affected, those areas where there's big outbreak. I heard that. He did not say that we are going to put a stop list in or have an extra screening for persons in those hardest hit areas where more cases are turning up.
I think because all we have to do is, because of the situation, yachts and stuff that come in that he's talking about, they have to come in and declare. All right, they're by law, they're already required to come in and declare. They have to stop to the first port of entry, and they have to be checked. We have to walk on their boats to see what they have, declare their firearms, declare anything they have to declare as reach to customs. They already have to do that. And so they need to be checked. So all we have to do is put stuff in place at the port of calls to say that, okay, now you have to be checked and screened. We need to make sure you're not bringing anything into this country in terms of viruses. That is not very difficult to do. All right? All we got to do is stop making excuses and put stuff in place.
Well, and even if it's difficult, it is necessary.
Yes.
And even if it's difficult, it is necessary to do. And in particular, the airport, which is stationary, and everybody coming through the same entrance. And so it can be done even from that level. At least make an effort. And I'm not saying that they don't have plans. I'm saying if they had plans, it was not articulated by the Prime Minister yesterday.
Stephanie McPhee, I saw you commented earlier, you in Italy. I understand northern Italy has been hit with this case. Up now, hundreds, perhaps a little over 1,000 people affected, and a few deaths as well.
Italy is the fastest growing next to China.
How does
Italy was up
Italy
was up to 1,700 on Friday and 37.
Italy is growing even now. It seems, according to what China is reporting, that the growth rate has slowed down and it's now picked up in Italy.
You know what?
That's just how
China. That's how
My daughter said in China, and she's
Yes,
been
they're
indoors
like-
now for almost 2 months. She said, if you go out, they arrest you. And she's in Wuhan where it started. And so if you go outdoors now, and that is why in those areas it is in Providence, it is dropping, because if you go out, if you're caught harboring somebody who is sick, you're dealt with. Because China is taking a major hit.
They have taken a major hit, and the world, I saw an analysis
Cutting
by
them off.
CNN. Yeah, the CNN saying China was not upfront with this, and obviously China wasn't upfront with this, and obviously was not very forthcoming in what they were dealing with initially. Let's just see, now this is northern, Stephanie, where exactly in Italy are you? I know where you are, but I'm saying in terms of north, south, central, whatever. But here's what she's saying. This agreement was signed in March 2019. Need I say more? Italy signs deals worth 2.5 billion euros with China. I live in so there's a lot of Chinese in Italy then, and they do business a lot. I live in Italy, and I can say that what the international media is showing is so far from what's actually happening in Italy, and that's why I want to know which part you're at. Because for how many deaths they said?
It was 37 on Friday.
It is just
1,700 confirmed cases.
Yeah, and the thing is, I know a number of Italian doctors are saying, listen, and as is the Bahamian doctor's position as well, a number of people die from the flu annually. And so the thing is, so Tuscany is in the center of Italy, okay. And they're saying northern Italy is where this is. Perhaps there's more Chinese and more Chinese business happening in northern Italy. And it's unfortunate, I don't care where in Italy it is, it's quite unfortunate, you know, to see what is happening there and what is being reported. So Italy obviously does huge business with China, and so wasn't aware of that. Wow. Kevin Moore says, preach, Peggy, we just need to have measures in place because our hospital, yes, and this is what, listen, our public health system is already strained. You hear Dr. San saying they've asked, don't know if they got it yet, this is last week now,
yes,
for $1 million. The U.S. Senate is saying they need $8.5 billion. The House, I believe, is saying they need $2.5 billion. And so when we look at that, we just need to, we need to go on be extremely stringent.
Yeah, and one of the reasons this thing spreads faster in China than in other places is because in China, in the cities, you're in such close proximity to everyone. Every single city is crowded. All right, you're walking on the streets and you literally rubbing shoulders with people as you walk. Like when you see New York sometimes on TV or you in Times Square, that's everywhere in China, right? In the cities.
And that is why they say
and then there's a poor hygiene.
Yes.
Right? People spitting everywhere and that kind of stuff. That's why in certain Asian countries they punish you for spitting. You know, particularly Singapore. But you know, people spitting all over the place, and you know, it's not in some places it's really nasty. All right, and so that's why it would spread so fast. And the problem is the spread is faster than we know. Like I said earlier, most people won't even be tested, so you don't know how far this thing has gone. All right, that's like AIDS. People don't know they have AIDS until they have to take an insurance test or something like that. Most people just don't get tested. So if they say we number one in AIDS, I mean, there's more people have AIDS than we actually know. HIV, thanks. You know, than we actually know, because most people, you're not going to be tested.
And then I work in an office setting, and people come to work with the flu. People come to work sick. And if there's just a flu-like symptoms, then people will just be casual about it. If it comes to our borders.
Yeah, I think we crossed the blue threshold. No, yeah, we crossed the blue threshold now, whereas this is why it's so important. And this is then the other reason why our reliance on tourism has to be looked at, because these types of scenarios can impact us in a drastic way. So now you have the corona threat, and you know, I'm hearing and seeing some shifts now in terms of customers who were potentially coming, but they are now afraid to come because of the overall threat. I know right now the cruise lines are taking a major hit as relates to their business. The Dow Jones, as you would have seen, has been dropping, and people will eventually start to lose jobs. They're talking about items not coming in from China, you know, like generic drugs and so on and so forth, that is now impacting America. You know, it is a scary scenario. And like I said, we all have responsibility in this. And like we just talked about, if you have persons coming in to work sick, right? Spreading their sickness. That's a responsibility.
Yes.
We all have responsibility to say to that person, listen, man, we understand how you're feeling, but you need to stay home.
Yes.
We all have a responsibility. We all have a responsibility when we see somebody spitting on the ground and stuff like that. These are things that they're not tolerated in certain parts of the world, like Tokyo and Japan and stuff like that. You ain't spitting no gum and stuff. You ain't doing that kind of stuff, you know. And so we gotta rise and recognize the era and the time we're in. But like I say, I go back to this point. Because of this exposure to this challenge, we now recognize that what we need is a task force, a group of people who can handle emergency scenarios on a large scale. And whether that means that every citizen is trained, like how they have a lot of everybody in Israel has to go through the army situation at a certain age. Maybe every citizen in this country needs to be trained in certain things that is relative to sickness and relative to certain things, so that we all will be better equipped should something like this ever occur.
My son is in Canada, St. Catharines, I think, Ontario, and I was supposed to visit him next month, and I'm not going. But one of the things I told him to make sure, increase his vitamins, get the vitamin C, build up his immune system, because he was not feeling well before he left, so I know he needs to straighten up. And so this is the type of messages now that we need to be told as a people, what to do to improve our health, preventative measures at home. And this is because Dr. Sands said last week that it is not if it comes here, but when, meaning that the probability is so high. So now, what type of measures are you gonna tell the Bahamian people? Because some people need to be told how to improve your health, how to build up your immune system. I saw a video circulating on the weekend on WhatsApp, what to do to build up the vitamin C in different stuff to build up your immune system. And probably that is the conversation now that Ministry of Health needs to be sharing with the people. I saw the one without a cough and everything, but a weakened system make you more acceptable to the disease, from my understanding.
Yeah, Stephanie says the Chinese are all concentrated here in Tuscany. There is a town called Prato that has the largest Chinese population in Italy, not in the north. And there are no cases of the virus in that Chinese town. It's funny how things play out. So Sonia says, we have a presumptive case here in Hillsborough County, Florida. Students that I teach are super worried. I'm a little concerned too, because the people don't like to wash their hands. That's important as well, wash your hands. Also, Sonia, your school may be, y'all may, you know, you better watch carefully, because y'all may have to have closures for a minute.
I'm the person in Hillsborough County, they were not in, they didn't go to any of those countries where they have it. They weren't necessarily in contact with anyone who was at risk that they knew about, and they can't explain why it is what it is.
So you don't know? You know, some people are saying that it is a biological weapon.
Yeah, the most dangerous thing about these types of diseases, this is from the same class that HIV is in. This is the type of virus that hides, it incubates. Right? HIV can incubate for 10 years. They can hide for 10 years. This one hides for 14 days. Viruses got smart and they realized that as soon as they show themselves, you start doing stuff to kill them, right, or to reduce their effect. So they got smart and they started hiding out until they build up their strength, then they come and get you. You know, and that's the dangerous thing about this type of virus. And so just to say that you only have 2 in Florida, if you have 2, that means you have multiples of that already existing. And they have spread everywhere, because tourism is Florida is one of the biggest tourism places in the world. And so how many people are crossing?
Sandy says, her concern is the financial markets, which of course, as you know, the financial markets have taken a tremendous hit. Some people, they're just saying, okay, let some weeks pass, and then let's try see what it is that we're doing in the finance markets.
Listen, man, y'all don't worry about them markets. Them markets have been hit over and repeatedly. They always go up no matter what happens. Right now they're going down, and guess what? As they're going down, there are some people, smart people, making some big money right now. If you're smart, learn how to trade in that market. Go and do what you have to do to become a trader. Get in that market, because you can make some money right now. Yeah, I love Corona situation right now from a financial standpoint. Listen, this is amazing. This is mind blowing. So y'all keep panicking. money you'll be making as you all panic. The smart traders, the big traders, are going to be making money. And they're going to be, as this thing goes down, it goes low and low and low. The lower it goes, when it hits bottom, then everyone's going to be saying, wow, we got to buy up them stocks. They are so low right now. You can that's bargain prices. And then it's going to shoot up higher than it's ever been. Don't worry with the markets, all right? The market's been here before you was born. You meet that here, you will leave that here. The Bible talked with the markets. They had markets from then. Jesus talked with the markets and the traders in Matthew 25. So don't worry with the markets. We need to worry with our health because you got one life. All right, that's what we need to worry about. We got one country and one economy. That we don't need our economy itself because we don't really participate in the markets as people. But our economy is being crushed. And so that's what we need to worry about.
Yeah, absolutely. So Rashida says, listen, I'm also concerned about the Chinese community in the Bahamas that are working there and recently came in. What happens if they already have it? And you know what, Rashida?
I don't think they allowed them. I don't think they allowed the back-ends yet, but then we have to be concerned that
Didn't the Chinese ambassador say, listen, that little 21-day incubation period is a bit much, and then didn't he just see when Chinese one coming in?
Yeah, that's a problem. I mean, from that perspective, that grouping that went back to China, see, that's the thing. They went back, and they're coming back to work. So definitely we need to do a proper screening and have a hard, fast approach to that scenario.
Listen, so guys, this coronavirus is obviously something that everybody's paying attention to, super, and we're going to continue paying attention to it. Maybe we need more updates and more, just need to be kept abreast more.
Well, I hope the chief medical officer is as aggressive as Dr. Sands was in communicating with individuals. He was very accessible, and so I hope the only person speaking to the virus now in the situation be as aggressive and informative as Dr. Sands was.
Well, tourism-related news, as Glenroy just stressed, and we all know, we don't need tourism to be hit here in this country. But so let's just go to some tourism stuff from the hotel and being sold in Grand Bahama today, or the agreement being official. The straw market. Let's just look at the straw market first then. The straw market is going into a second week. Many people are saying, listen, I'm surprised it only taken 2 weeks to clean the filthy pit. It's quite filthy. Others are saying, yeah, it's filthy and it needs cleaning. It probably should have even taken longer, but is it the right timing? It should have been maybe done just at a different time. Your thoughts on now 2 weeks these straw vendors are basically not working? Not having something come in, or was there some temporary measure put in place?
I think they were placed on the dock.
On the wharf,
and the initial complaint was, yeah, we don't want to be there, yada, yada, yada. Then recently, they made so much money being out there, they want to stay a little longer. This is how we are. We complain without seeing how it benefits us. But without progress, you cannot have progress without pain. And sometimes you have to bear a little pain in order to have some progress. But here's the flip side of it. We can't be the ones shooting ourselves in the foot by making the environments that we are supposed to be utilizing to generate revenue to put it in disrepair and
that is a turn off for everybody to kind of for everybody to
exactly
even want to visit, eh?
We gotta have national pride. I mean, if you're going to invite tourists, especially think about we talk about coronavirus. When you walk into a certain environment and it doesn't smell appealing, it doesn't look appealing, you're going to automatically think that these people are unkept. And as a result of that, you're going to have a shunning of that business. And so we need to be very careful. Not every straw vendor. There are some who are very clean. They do what they need to do to ensure that their environment is nice and conducive. But there are some who are spoiling it for the rest.
Well, before you step into this, I'd like to get in the comments as soon as they come in. Dwayne Hilo, who I'm not sure where he is, if he is meaning in Nassau or Family Islands, but he says, no, they are not communicating enough, Shenique. And our Ministry of Health only has 50 test kits for the COVID-19. That's a reflection of their preparations. No international flight should be allowed directly to the Family Islands, because then I guess there's certainly nothing in place there. Okay? And he says 50 kits are not enough. We are an international city. Yeah, go ahead, Payne.
I was going to speak to the straw market issue in Glenroy. This is one of those instances where we can hold the people accountable for their environment. I mean, over the last few weeks, I've been sent a few videos and asked to share them where I think the same lady who was here on Wednesday was talking about how unkept the place was, and somebody else said it to say try to encourage people to clean up the environment. And so it is important for the vendors to take personal pride in their surroundings, putting that in their responsibility. But we also have to look at timing for balanced conversation, balanced view.
Timing and what? In terms of when should it have been closed now?
Yes, and I understand that there was also something with pipes having to be fixed and fire hydrants, and there's a lot of things that speaks to long-term neglect, that everything came together at this particular time and created an urgent situation. And so they need to put in place, there is the straw market authorities, there's a general manager, need to put in place a schedule to maintain that place, to keep that place clean, and so something like this cannot repeat, because the reality is that this is the livelihood of so many persons, and they need it, and they have kids in school, and you need to also be sensitive to their plea. And they were asking for a particular time, a slower period, and I was thinking that it could have been negotiable where they compromised, but apparently things had gotten so out of hand that it could not be put off any longer.
Well, Novelia P. Johnson, Phyllis Johnson says, Shenique, they are too nasty. They should leave it closed for a year more, for a year, because of how the state of the straw market is what she's saying.
Yeah. Terrible conditions.
You know, and one of the things I want to say too is that nationally, I walk around and I go to different entities and buildings and structures around here. The place just look unkept in general. We need an infusion of resources that will bring back, without any kind of skullduggery behind the improvement, whereas the country has a different look and a different feel. Because when you go in an environment that is not conducive for your best energy to come forth, you're going to produce exactly what that environment is. And so what needs to happen around here?
If your home got a bit too clustered,
right.
Like you hoarding,
right.
it isn't good for clear. It isn't good for clear thought and peace.
Right. And what I want to see is, I talk about all these major governmental buildings, our schools. I want to see a better looking environment from that perspective. I want our students to be in an environment that's clean, conducive, where the bathrooms look good, where the school looks good, look like world class, first class. That is where I want our resources to be spent. I want to see a different Bahamas. And I want us to raise the stakes and raise the level of thinking, raise our mindsets. We need to be more patriotic, and we need to get back to a place of patriotism and have that national pride, because the country is definitely in need of an infusion of so much so that we could be better as a people.
Kevin Moss says the straw market is getting a fire sprinkler system, among other things, in case of fire. So I guess there are lots of upgrades happening at the same time.
Yeah. The problem in the straw market wasn't that they were going to do upgrades. Right? I don't think the people had a problem with that. The problem they had was the notice. They had a couple of days of notice, and that's
9, I think.
Yeah, it wasn't that much. But they had a few days of notice, and it wasn't enough for people to really have to reorganize everything. They could have said, listen, they could have said this from last year, listen, on February 1st, we're going to start our renovations. You're showing that again, as a government, you're shooting by the hips, you're not planning. But, it is another indication that you don't have any vision.
Considerate of these people.
But this is where I'm going to sound like Roy.
It sound like me speaking the truth.
This is what I'm going to say. There is a straw market authority whose responsibility is to oversee the well-keep of the thing. And so that is why my first thing...
So then they are not necessary. The straw market authority is not necessary if they're allowing the continued rundown of the place. And guess what? If there's a nasty vendor or 20, fine them.
Yeah, and they've been having difficulties with the relationship. But what I'm saying, the scheduling that you speak of, an advance notice, I think it is their responsibility to put that in place, wherein they send out the notice, because if they had a scheduling, they know of the conditions. They've been having difficulties for months to give advance notice. So if they create a scheduling moving forward to say every such and such period, we're going to close down, even if it's for a weekend, every 3 months.
You're talking sense. You sound like me from here. Now you're talking like me.
That makes sense. So let me just add to that though. If the place has become nasty and the place has become unmanageable, it shows that those who were in charge of managing have failed.
Yes.
Because I can't be the manager at that place. I'm walking through there every day and seeing that filthy in front of your stall, and I don't make you clean that up or put rules in place to say, listen, this in front of your stall, those stalls are never left unattended. Someone always sitting there because they got to sell. So if in front of your stall or your stall area is not kept properly, your stall gone, baby.
Yeah.
All right, or you can pay a fine at first. After a certain amount of fines, your stall gone. Okay, we can keep this place clean because you need this to make money.
Yeah, and so there must be policies in place for guidance. And all of this now is an opportunity to put these things in place to mitigate this happening again, because the reality is it's having a negative effect on their lives. And so they should appreciate when these policies
not just tourists coming and shopping, but also health.
Yeah.
Imagine you have a coronavirus and all that spit. Listen, man, clean the flipping market.
There was a time that the fish fry was filthy and it was crime rate. You didn't want to go there, you might get shoot, etc. And it was horrible. They decided to take that by the horns. They went out there, they sent Oscar Sands there, who was a rough police at the time, and they got that place in order. They cleaned it up.
The bridge.
They cleaned it up. They said it's a no bottle zone, and it was better for years and years and years.
Is it still being maintained?
No. Now, I guess, under this administration and part of the last administration, there have been some serious changes in that regard.
For cleanliness purpose, the bridge, Potoski area, I mean, you must give comments to, I think it's Bishop Minnis, who's responsible for that being cleaned up. And I mean, what a wonderful, beautiful job. And my friend, Kaukalai, his mission is to encourage Bahamians to keep their surroundings clean. And it is a spillover. If your surroundings are not clean, wherever you go to socialize, wherever you go to work, you will not maintain it. Yeah. And so it comes a lot, Glenn Roy, to personal responsibility in this instance.
Diamond Hall says it's very true. The management is at fault in the lack of upkeep at the straw market, and that is why the system has to be again. Kevin Moore says that's poor management on the straw market authority, where the garbage was, and all of them had to pay extra to clean that up. And they should there's still $1 a day or $2 a day. Diamond also says in terms of this coronavirus, she's just giving some advice. You know, the money that we handle every day, wash your hands after that, and the Lysol, all that stuff, keep washing. I have some information on this page, by the way. Guys, in the next few minutes, let's just talk about BPL. Listen, y'all, didn't they say BPL? Didn't the chairman, who's that? Something Donovan Moxie. Did not he say and promise just recently? I'm talking about last year in the summer and all that. I'm talking about just recently. Didn't he say no more outages? What is happening now again, you all? What is going on now that people are saying you all think last summer was epic? Wait.
Exactly what the prophet, Apostle Paul, Maynard said was going to happen. Y'all keep listening to the politicians and to the political cronies who are appointed and not listening to the union man who is there. Everything he says happens. Every time he says this is going to happen, don't listen to them people, this is what's really happening on the ground. Exactly what he says turns out to be the truth. So I don't know why we still listening to these liars who are politicians, you know, who said that Abaco is 100% restored as it relates to BPL. Well, I don't know why we keep listening to them. The problem that's happening with BPL now is only 2 of the 7 that they got generators is kind of operational, right?
And that kind of is the operative word.
Yes, kind of operational, all right? The next problem is they were told by Wärtsilä itself not to use the cooling system that they are going to use. Wärtsilä told them, don't do that. You have the experience, don't do that. But
so then Lincoln, who brilliant person, who obviously is a better engineer and know more than the company that's saying, listen, in our experience, is not wise to go this route. Who would make that?
Follow the money. Follow who get the contract and who have the ability to get the contracts. That is what motivates everything in this country. Who get the contract. So we're not going to go with your idea because, no. Just like what happened before in BPL, right? You had Fred Ramsey, who was convicted recently, who said, no, let's get these generators because that was his hookup.
That was their hookup. Let's get these generators that are decrepit, that are inferior, etc. Let's go with this, and let's push and get our people in power to push for this to happen. And then they got generators that were a disadvantage to the Bahamian people. This is still going on. All right? And so Watsilla told them to get a more radiator cooling system. They said, no, we could drill. We could drill down.
Listen to me. Listen. We don't need, would you 300 feet there into that rock on Clifton Dale?
Yes.
No.
And then they hit rock.
Do we need anybody to shift whatever plate that is down there? No, because earthquake is real in these parts. Or as we saw recently. But it don't matter with the plate. Don't water the rock then. That rock, leave that rock alone. Leave the rock. Now, guys, the Prime Minister appeared on CBS 60 Minutes last evening and really talked about almost making, I guess, Abaco somewhat of an eco-friendly island in terms of power. Were we pleased to hear that? What he said about making the word, oh gosh. Good
idea. Really good idea.
Yes.
I'm proud of them for thinking like this. This is the way we should be thinking, so I give the government props for doing that. We just need to see that Bahamians can get these contracts, man. Yeah, Bahamians interested in these industries, and we need to give them a chance. Every time you hear this stuff, Ragged Island, a foreigner got the contract. You know, there are Bahamians who can't do this. Why are none of these things going out to bid? Why is the media not questioning the government on this? All these things they're doing, where's the bidding process? Who is getting these bids? Who got the bids for the drones? Who got the bid for the body cameras, the dash cameras? Who getting the bid for these stuff? Who got the bid for Marco Archer, whatever that thing is they say they can bring up? Who getting the bid for these stuff? Right? This is this happening in your face, and you ain't seeing it. So now another foreign company is going to come and put solar in Abaco. Any other country this was in, they would have raised that and shut this country down.
The Rocky Mountain Institute, the Rocky
NGO.
Mountain Institute NGO is currently assisting with a 15-acre solar microgrid in Marshall, Abaco. And so this is a voluntary effort, I think. I'm not sure. Lincoln?
Hell no. No, I think I don't know. I think they're paying for it. But listen, two things. Back to the BPL in terms of the drilling. The drilling was being conducted. What happened is they hit the drill bit that they were using broke as they were going several hundred feet.
Because that means you don't go that low.
Right.
Two times.
And so now they've purchased the right bit, and they are now.
They did that several times. They won several bits.
Right, and they're now and they got the right bit. As you know, when you're doing stuff, things happen. So now let's see and let's hope.
Are we so then there's no, because this is a novice speaker now, or asking this question. We don't need to be concerned of you trying to tamper with the earth that low.
Well, that's a different matter. I don't know, for example, how much of an impact that they would have. But
what the best commission or somebody saying about this?
I have no idea. But what I'm speaking to specifically is the fact that the drilling has resumed, and it was always slated to happen. Going back to this concept, Lincoln asked some legitimate questions. We need to know, and that's where I always say Freedom of Information Act needs to come into play so that we know exactly who's getting these bids, who's getting these contracts. At the same time, I do applaud the government, and I think I mentioned this some time ago as well, that what the intention of the government is, and I think Minister Bannister spoke to this about 4 or 5 months ago, where people were talking about, oh, we need to see it, but you're now seeing it. One of the things they were talking about is diversifying the BPL experience by ensuring that a majority of the islands have solar capability. Why? Because of the landmass. The amount of megawatt power that it requires you to have for solar panels, you need the equal amount of landmass to do it.
No,
for example, yes, you need 15 acres to put all those panels down. We don't have that kind of landmass here in Nassau unless you outfit every single home to help with ensuring that that mass is covered.
And one of my earlier research when it was a BPL issue in the summer, I came across an article when Pamela Hills was when BC became BPL management. Pamela Hill and the former administration had a plan, and the plan was to be executed in Andres for a solar plant and whatever. And so we have Andres, we have other islands with wider mass that can be for each island. And the question is when? The question is when, because
Was a timeline given in that 60-minute interview? But I
Relates to
mean,
what?
but as it relates to
solarizing family islands. I mean,
Well, they're already, you see the panels already down inside, what's the?
Ragged Island.
Ragged Island.
That's
Yeah,
it.
No, and then right now they're working on the one in Abaco because of the space between the government building, as you would have seen reported.
on the mic, Glenn, right? On the mic.
Right, the space in between the government building and I can't remember whatever the building is. They're talking about the elevation. So right now, it's a step-by-step process. And obviously, everything costs resources to do it. But right now, the entire structure that is down in Ragged Island will be able to sustain the 100 people that are down there.
But I understand what the Prime Minister said, that, this Ragged Island thing was outstanding from which year?
I think Matthew, or Joaquin, I'm not sure.
It was Irma, I think.
Irma, yeah.
Oh, Irma? Okay.
And so,
2017.
That's
yes,
when he evacuated the entire island.
Right.
Let's not forget now, after the evacuation took place and the island was devastated, the information provided from the Prime Minister to those folks was, listen, it's not inhabitable. And then you remember the article there, it's not livable, it's not livable. And so what happened is, in that instance, people decided they want to go back. They insisted.
Some stayed.
And some stayed, and they insisted. They stayed. So the government had to recognize, now these people are insisting, then we need to do something. That process took a longer period because that was not the agenda. Now they are now seeing the results of that bleeding process.
I don't know if you can say it was an agenda.
But I'm happy that they insisted on staying because things are happening.
Right.
And it's causing things to happen more, just like the people who have remained and have returned to Abaco.
Correct.
Now, this wonderful idea of solarizing the island and trying to assist with that will obviously move speedily. As you mentioned, there's already a company engaged.
Yes.
Enormous cost to it too, though.
Yeah,
Yes.
We need to do the cost. Yeah.
And the Prime Minister did call on the assistant. I thought that was a bold step of the
First World Nations.
First World Nation, who, according to him and the Prime Minister for Barbados, that we are victim of their lifestyle.
Their habits.
And so I'm so glad when I saw him call out, and the question was asked, do you think they should pay insurance to cover? And it was yes, and he said that there are ongoing negotiations for that. So that was a strong position.
There's not an enormous cost, and two, you don't need, we have a lot of land. We have land that we don't live on. We have 700 islands. We live on about 13 of them. All right? The facts are, it takes 2.5. I was looking it up at a credible website, so I can show this to him. It takes 2.5 acres to 1 megawatt.
Correct.
All right? What they have out there to the sports center is 1 megawatt. All right? We have land in the back of the airport. They now say they use to do more runway. That whole area straight down the Carmichael Road, we have that's available. All right, we have all kinds of empty areas, all in the back by the canals, in the back of Pinewood and Seabreeze and other areas.
Yeah, and so address BPL. Thank you.
All right?
They can say in order to say address BPL.
So this is
Zoom right there.
Right. So let me give you an example of this. I did a Facebook post about it that went extremely viral because the Philippines, all right, the Philippines spent almost the same amount of money that we're spending on these new plants that we're building to build a plant that would do the same thing as Blue Hill Power Plant, and they did solar, all right? And they spent $90 million, all right? It doesn't matter how much. We have land mass. We have islands we use that we could generate
Not enough.
and move the. Yes, we do. We have lots and lots of land.
Okay.
2.5 acres for 1 megawatt, and they find a way to tilt them, and that's really American numbers. We have more sun than them, all right, and we have more days and hours, etc., of sun, all right. We have land that we can use. We need to stop making excuses. Every time you try to ask the government to do something, this man finds every excuse why it can't be done.
No, I'm not saying it can't be done.
Listen, I went to Colorado the other day, and in Colorado, they have solar plants. They have solar fields. I talk about snow all over there.
Thousands of acres.
All right?
Right.
Listen,
I agree with you.
do the math. If you want to do a 60 megawatt plant, and it's 2 acres for 1 megawatt,
120 acres.
How much? 120 acres. That's nothing. That's nothing. 120 acres?
But you know,
I want to go and move this quickly because we are really wrapping up this show shortly. Grand Bahama Power Company has announced that April 1st, they're adding an addition on to persons' utility power bills. And Grand Bahamians, business owners, residents are hugely upset about this because they're saying, many people I spoke with over the weekend, listen, my repairs aren't done. I need this, that, and that for my house. How the dickens you could bring an additional fee onto my power bill? What it is that we continue to levy one new bill, one new tax, one new additional expense on the backs of people who are still grappling and trying to get some normalcy back.
The thing about it is, and I listened to one of the news stories where a lady was saying, my current has not been restored. But the purpose is to recover the losses of Grand Bahama power. Yeah, so how much more can these victims take? I think the timing is all wrong, and it comes off as a selfish greed. My question is, who can intervene on behalf of these people? I mean, Grand Bahamians has had a rough time for many years, and the truth of the matter is, more attention has been put on Abaco for whatever reasons than the recovery efforts in Grand Bahama, if not put, talk about. And so who's speaking out on their behalf? I think the timing is ill-timing, is inconsiderate, and it's selfish. And somebody needs to stand up and speak on behalf of these people because it's most unfair. And then I think unemployment in Grand Bahamas was up 50 or 60%.
About 60%.
I mean, come on, where are they going to get these
Where they
funds?
get the money from? They can plant it and they can grow it and then pick it up.
That's foolishness. I don't
And
agree.
somebody needs to speak up. I see Dr. Michael Dowell was addressing and criticizing. They need to speak with one voice because this now is not something to be made political, but of course it will be. But they're coming up against, I think, the Port Authority. Somebody
That's what the issue
needs to take a stand.
I agree.
I absolutely agree. We have, people who have no jobs and are really just trying to press their way forward. Here's a comment right now from a Grand Bahamian, and anybody else who was there, please identify yourself. Dr. Ruth Ann Newton-Lightman says, yes, very inconsiderate. Somebody who's living on a fixed income and trying to push our way through and make it happen. Very inconsiderate. Yet you are, and they're telling it's just $7. It's just, and then 24 for businesses.
For some people, it's more.
And thank you, it's more, but what do you mean it's just?
And struggling businesses and unemployed persons. You know what $7 for unemployed person to add to it and
that's on top of what
everything else,
It's like officials don't really care about the people, and they make money seem trivial because they have it, and they have control of it. But like the Prime Minister said, you're talking to me about $100. What is $100? If $100 ain't nothing, why you all demanding that you all get it? If $100 ain't nothing, then you don't need to get it then, because that ain't nothing. We talking about $100. Why you want additional $100? If it's nothing.
It's a lot.
All right? No, I want you to have common sense. Sometimes you got to look at things on both ways.
But feel for people, because for some people, $100 is a lot for some people.
And to say $100 when it's not $100 because you ain't going on a one-day trip. Most of your trips are going to be days, and you carry all the people with you. And you carry other ministers who don't need to go. You go in the CARICOM and you can't this minister, that minister, that minister, that minister. For what?
You're talking about the people in Grand Bahama.
Let's go. We're
talking about the people in Grand Bahama, not $100. Now, I would say, and I'll stick to this point, those people in Grand Bahama are not deserving of such an additional blow. It's unfortunate, it's wrong, and it needs to be halted right now.
Yes.
The people in Abaco don't need to be taxed with any additional bill.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we need to have a scenario in our country where we hold governments to account. But that's, again, collectively as a people, we need to stop focusing on the trivial stuff that takes place when it comes to the election time and focus on things that will benefit us as a people.
Of what people are saying, Glenn, and I love it. When they come to you,
correct,
or not to you, to us,
correct.
Stop doggone trying to say, hey, we'll be serving to the rally tonight.
Right.
Forget that. Eat before you go.
So that's where you tell them don't be emotional.
No,
right.
Eat before you go.
Absolutely.
Listen to what these people are saying and proposing and policy and their plans and their whatever it is they're putting forward to this country.
Exactly.
Ask questions, read. I love what you always say, Glenn Roy, you're a proponent of this. Get involved, stop flipping, looking out for your $100 to go try buy a tin of corned beef. By the time they're finished, you looking around saying, well, the government is something made? No, the government, that's because you demand of the government.
Let me say a couple of things that I'm concerned about right now. I'm concerned about, again, I just mentioned it, the dilapidated look of our schools and government buildings. We need a first world class. We need to get it up to standard. What I'm also concerned about is the insurance company charges. I'm concerned about the bank fees that we are paying in this country. I'm concerned about our health system in terms of the dilapidated look of our health systems. I'm concerned about the amount of Chinese businesses that are opening up here, that are selling liquor in this country. These are true
and
concerns.
Everywhere, no proper zoning. Look at
your restaurant.
You live here, the Chinese liquor store here.
Right.
Like there's no proper zoning, there's nothing.
And so what I'm looking at is those things that are causing our country to look deteriorated
to decay. Yes.
That is what I'm concerned about. And we need to get off these little debates about these little simple things. Let's talk the big stuff. When governments are now making business deals like the one today, why didn't we have a percentage of ownership in such an entity? Why don't we have 40% some stake in some of these interested companies that are coming to our shores? These are the concerns I'm concerned about. When we talk about natural resources, when are we going to implement something whereas we can take something back in this natural resources scenario? These are real issues, so much so that we can lighten the burden on our people from this taxation perspective.
And one of the things adding to your list is all of these increasing fees and taxation. When will they address the minimum wage?
So that's a big issue.
Now that is my concern. Unemployment and minimum wage. You cannot be demanding have the people for cash cow and you're taking practically 50% at the end of the day of what they bring in. And so in that instance, $100 is a lot. When you look at a single mother who's probably making minimum wage is $230. And don't get into a business how she get a single mother, $210. And so when you look at the increases on BPL, what is projected, the 60% on the VAT that went up, and everything else, the cost of living, school fees, how do people make it? And so one of the concerns by everybody in this election campaign and season, people, focus on your need. Don't have a short memory. Focus on your need.
Not your need for that immediate gratification.
No.
To say, oh, child, they just put grocery in my cupboard. No, not that.
Short term.
Short term.
Right.
And that is
long term growth for country and you and your family.
Get a commitment. Ask them when you are going to increase our fees. Everybody else getting increased. Their food getting increased. When their food budget's getting increased. Ask them when the minimum wage is going to be increased so you can live in some kind of sense of dignity. No emotion. This is when you don't be emotional or be emotional for yourself and your children. This is the season when everybody getting their candidates together and everybody getting excited over the wrong thing. Get excited about you and your children.
Yes.
What are they gonna do for you? And then we heard a lot of stuff all before. I want you now to line up what you heard and what has been done and determine your level of trust.
I'd like to have your final comment before I wrap up today.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to end on what we talked about just now. A lot of people are, including business people, go in shopping plazas all around this country. You're going to see how many businesses are closing down. It's not making the news, but businesses are closing down. Look around. People are being laid off. People are being fired. People are really seriously hurting. People are being fired. People are seriously hurting in this country, and something needs to be done. It's like we're moving without vision, but we need to get it together before it's too late.
Guys, I thank you all very much. I love the opinions, perspectives, and interpretation of the news stories and issues that happen around this table. Very sober presentations, very thought-provoking presentations, and that's what they're meant to do. I want you all to please continue sharing the comment. I don't know if I can get to one or two more comments as we go before I wrap up today. Kevin says, no, Shenique, this is a different era. Now these politicians today ain't gonna get away with what they got away with in the past. Here's another Grand Bahamian. So Ruthann says, honestly, it seems as though Grand Bahama wasn't even affected by the hurricane because many of them feel like their needs are being ignored, you know, and overshadowed by the others.
I just want to jump in there.
Go ahead.
You're saying that,
Go ahead.
you know, you think we're talking about Grand Bahama, there are people who have just moved back into Pinewood Gardens. During that same storm, the little hip that we got in the south where we had the big flooding in the south, etc., there were people who lost everything right here in this country. And no one, yes, right in Nassau, so I don't know why I say country. Right here in Nassau, right in Pinewood Gardens, people lost everything. All their furniture, all their clothes, right here in Nassau. Nothing was put in place for tax exemptions for them or nothing done for them. And no MP did anything to try to say, well, I got to look out for my people. Everyone just thought about Abago because Abago was hit big. So they noticed the big damage, but they forgot about people right here in Nassau, in the southern part of Nassau, that lost, and I mean everything. There's still top on roofs in Nassau.
For a long time.
All right, still top on roofs in Nassau. You know, and so there are people right here that were forgotten. Y'all need to start demanding your MP be for y'all.
Kizzy Aisha Newton says, don't sell your souls for turkey, you guys. Veronica Bain says, that's right, Shenique, eat before you go to the rally so you can hear. See, because if you're hungry and distracted, you ain't hearing. So eat, don't go sober, and listen to exactly what people are saying.
No rallies right now.
Well, different matter. Today's show is being brought to you by, in fact, if you're looking to reverse a number of issues or just get coaching to get yourself to the next level, even lose weight, Dr. Rutha Newton Lightborn, 439-2425, 439-2425. We're also being brought to you today by Spa of Eden, West Bay Street, 322-7785. And also Box Fit with Renee Minus. Box Fit, you're gonna need to build that, as I think it was one of the guys said earlier, in terms of us taking care of our own health. Exercise is a part of that. Renee Minus, Box Fit Nation, 808-7334, 808-7334. Thank you all so much. Have a beautiful evening. God bless. Again, thank you Glenroy Pratt, thank you Lincoln Bain, Peggy Candace, and also Obi Roberts, who had to leave earlier after the first hour. Thank all of you, and thank you social media. Please share the video. I absolutely thank you all so much for embracing what the interim is right now, and that is the conversation on the Facebook Live feed. You guys are amazing. I thank you. I am super grateful to all of you. And of course, continue sharing the video, continue participating on this very same page, and we will move forward together. Thank you all very, very much. Have a great evening.